Okay, so continuing on page Koftes from Gimel, section Gimel in Bitzur. So again, what we've been speaking about is now we're in the first lashon of tefillah, the first aspect of tefillah, which is the concept of Bitzur. And really what we spoke about last time is this concept of Bitzur is calling out to Hashem in distress. And the point is like, okay, so when does this mean? Like when does this apply? When are we supposed to daven like this? And ultimately our answer was, we're always in a state of distress. Right, every single person, because even if you're the greatest, even if let's say for sure, if you're poor and you're suffering because from physical gashmias, lacks, obviously you're in a state of suffering. You're going to cry out to Hashem, right? But even if you're wealthy, right, you're still lacking, let's say spiritually, and even the tzaddikim are always in a state of distress. Even if you're like doing everything right, because of the fact that now you're so concerned, like maybe I didn't do this mitzvah right, maybe we're constantly in a state of distress that we need to call out to Hashem, right? That's ultimately what we've been discussing about this concept. So. And then we spoke a little bit more deeper things too, but we'll go weiter. Everybody here did the chazar chabulis. Everybody's holding. Okay, so going from Gimel, this is tremendous stuff. Mamish, like big foundational yesodus right now. V'hine echad min hakolim hagedolim bedarchei hashgacha hu. He says one of the tremendous klalim, one of the main rules in the way of darchei hashgacha. What is darchei hashgacha? That's hashgacha of Hashem. How does Hashem run the world? One of the ways Hashem runs the world, so to speak, hashgacha is like Hashem's, what does it mean hashgacha? Prate, right? The whole concept of Hashem, how Hashem sees the world, how Hashem is intimately involved with our world. Te'af al gav de HaKadosh Baruch Hu, roeh hakol, ve'yodei hakol ha'metzius, aval kach sider hu yizbarach beseder hanhagas ha'olam, she'ah kiviyachol, kilo eino roeh ma she'en ba'arim lefanav eni yodea, I just read the whole sentence because this is my thing is a highlight, and there's a highlight and underline this, and this is wild. Now, what are we saying? Even though HaKadosh Baruch Hu sees all and He knows all, right? Bli safek, obviously. But the way that this is the way Hashem made the world, in the way of the Hanhagas Olam, just the way Hashem created the world, that He made it as if He doesn't see anything. That's not shown before Him. And it says, and He made the world as if He doesn't know anything that wasn't presented before Him. What does that mean? Let's see what's going on here, because that sounds like a pretty crazy concept. And what's going on? Let's see. This klal applies to as so many applications in Hashem's hashgacha to this world, in order to do what? In order to keep our tzelem elokim and our bechira, our free will. Hashem uses this for that reason. Shem ikar materas brias ha'adam b'chol lamas, because the ikar goal and the whole point of creation of man is letting us have free will, is being created b'tzalem elokim and being able to have free will in this world. So therefore, what did Hashem do? Hashem created the world as if He doesn't see. So what does that mean? So, and he's going to explain in a second, but just on the outside, like, and just what does free will play into this? Because the idea is that if we knew, if it was as if that Hashem, so to speak, saw everything we did and we felt that. If we really felt that always, we wouldn't have free will, right? Because ultimately, if we really felt in a real physical way, so to speak, that Hashem is just, sitting there watching us next to us, we're never going to sin. How could we ever sin if we physically feel God? So Hashem makes it in a way. This is on the other hand. This is not even the point that He's making. You'll see He's bringing the point on the other hand. I'll say in a second. But this is a separate point I'm bringing based on this concept, which is that Hashem makes it as if we, so to speak, it's hard. We don't see Him in physical form, and we don't feel Him physically, because of that. If we did that, there would be no bechira, there'd be no free will. We wouldn't sin. We wouldn't be able to, right? If the executioner is standing with the sword in your neck, you're not going to, do the wrong thing. And then also there would be an uncontested year around the world. There wouldn't be bechira. So ultimately, what's the concept? Yeah, Victor.
What does that have to do with Hashem making the world as if He doesn't see anything as if it wasn't before Him?
Great question. So I went on a tangent. We're going to explain right now, but let's use the words of Rav Ari Shiur. I was giving kind of a separate concept. Let's use that. All right, good. It's the same concept with the tsaros of man, because we said that basically, again, the concept is that Hashem created the world in a way that He doesn't see anything, as if He doesn't see anything if it's not brought before Him. So how does this play into our lives? This is how it plays into our lives with the tsaros and the distresses and troubles of man. Even if a person is in a tremendous tzara, tremendous distress, if he doesn't explain and express his tzara to Hashem, by way of Hashem's hashgacha, how Hashem runs the world, it's as if Hashem makes it as if that He doesn't see and He doesn't hear. And only when a person comes and explains the Indian before Hashem, tells Hashem, here's my troubles, here's my problems, then Hashem makes as if now he sees it b'shamayim. Imud soek chamas al nafsho haoleches lishol v'alshu b'tzara gedola. Right? If he screams out to Hashem and he cries out and he says, Hashem is such a tremendous, unbearable, a yoma, a tremendous pain. As olim advarim v'nirin kiviyachol lifnei abor. This is the way Hashem created the system. This is the way Hashem created the world. We're understanding the hashkacha of Hashem. We have to understand the darkei hashkacha, right? Ultimately, that's the way that we get close to Hashem. We understand the ways of Hashem. This is the way that Hashem created the world for multiple reasons and reasons that we're never going to know either. But this is one of the ways of darkei hashkacha, that Hashem makes it as if we don't scream out, if we don't talk to Him, it's as if He doesn't see. And He's going to give him a shalom right now. Ve'az kimo av rachman hamitz ragesh umis ora me'atza akos hayotos mipi beno v'pona mikol asako b'chdei la'atzila. Just like, let's say, like a merciful father, right, who feels awakened and actually feels something from the cries and screams of his children, and he turns away from everything he's dealing with to do what? To go save them. The Cain kasher olim the Milo. Sa'akos enoshos. Hatzileni Hashem. So too the same thing when our cries go up to Hashem and say, Hatzileni Hashem, Hashem save us. Megios hatzakos lefanav yisbarach. They go right to Hashem, just like a father, right? That's the same concept. And what does he say here? Ve'ein shum davar hayachol limnoa mehen lehagil lefanav yisbarach. There's nothing that can stop these words from reaching Shemayim. That's also the way Hashem created the system. That the way that when a person cries out to Hashem out of tzara, there's nothing that can stop it. The Chazal, it says in Bav Metzia, Daf Nun Tes, Kol Hashem. Anybody know what we're talking about here? Anybody got here yet? Kol Hasharim Ninalu Chut Vishari Ona V'Dima. That after the Beis HaMikdash was destroyed, all of the gates of Shemayim were closed except for one, except for the gates of Ona V'Dima, of tears and prayer and suffering. Those gates of Shemayim never close. Hashem keeps those open for eternity. That's why, again, back in the day, at the time of the Beis HaMikdash, it was much easier just to see God openly, talk to Hashem openly. We could see, that was the thing. Since then, obviously, we're in Gullus, it's not like that, but Hashem left the gate of Tefillah open, yeah.
They were closed except for what and what? Except
for the gates, Meshari Ona, which is suffering, V'Dima, and tears. The gates of suffering and tears, so to speak. The gates of Tefillah. The Sha'arim B'Tefillah are the Gemara, what the Gemara says that have been left open for us. Right? Mashal la'aba shekas al b'no. So what's this analogous to? This is just like a father who gets angry at his son, so to speak. Again, like Hashem with the Beis HaMikdash, right? Mashal la'aba shekas al b'no. The hotzio me beso. And what does he do? He throws the kid out of the house. Literally, literally throws him outside. Takes him, puts him outside, and locks the door. Throws the kid right outside. And what happens? Ve'av sheshomea kolo b'chutz. And the father hears the kid crying, Tati, please. Bochem ischonin. He's just crying and crying. He's not going, excuse me, he didn't say please. He's just crying. And the father's like, what, you're misbehaving, stay outside. And all of a sudden, right, the father won't listen to him. Ach im pitom hu shomea tza'akos ayamim hatzila avi. All of a sudden, out of nowhere, what does he hear? The tone changes. He hears a shriek. He hears, Father, save me.
What's I mean?
I think it just means like ayom, like ayom benora, right? Strong, powerful.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, so hine, he says, Atzila Avi, my father, Abba, save me.
Please.
Hine Aryeh Nora, Pa'or Peh, Omed Lenegdi L'Tarfeni. There's a lion that's standing right here and it's about to rip my face off. Abba, help me. He's not like Ha'av Kebarak. The father's going to bolt like lightning. Liftoach Hadelas, to open the door, grab his kid, La'achnisa Pnima, Lahatzil Nafsho, Minei Shachas. Right? That the father, no matter what, again, even though the kid was bad to the point the father threw him out of the house, locked the door, the kid's crying, the father didn't care. Crying, okay, go, boo-hoo. The second the kid screams out to him and says, Tati, I need you, I'm in danger, I need you. The father's going to come running open the door. Obviously, it goes without saying. That's the first mashal. He's going to give an even more relatable mashal. But he said the first mashal because that's like us in the Gullus right now. That, so to speak, we misbehaved very, very badly. So what did Hashem do? Hashem put us outside the house. And we're outside the house. We're sitting there and we're suffering. And it's as if we feel like it's as if Hashem doesn't see us. We're suffering. But ultimately, when we cry out and we say, Hashem, I'm just in so much pain, I need you. The gates of Shemayim are open. And Hashem that's when Hashem comes and rushes to save us. Right? Even though this mashal is 100% correct and proper. He says, even though what I just said is the true mashal, I'm going to give you an even more pashut mashal, more simple mashal that we can relate to even more. He's a mamash legend. Mashal le'echad she'aviv rofe mumche le'machalas leiv. Let's say you have a guy and his father is an expert heart doctor. He's an expert heart doctor, the best heart doctor in the world. Let's say vehine kora shehaben chala choshes belibo. And what happens? The kid starts having heart problems. And and he's mamish dying. The kid is dying. He's mamish dying. He's got these crazy, insane heart problems. And he's sitting on the bed in his house. And he asks his friend, and his friend says to him, he says, I don't understand. How is it possible that your father, your father is a specialist in the exact thing that you're suffering from, that you're about to die from? Like this exact thing that literally, like that, he's the one who has the cure. This guy saves everybody. No one has ever died under his control. How is it possible? How is it possible that your father can't save you? What's going on here? I don't understand. You're the one patient that dies under his watch. And what does the son say? Amar lo haben. The dying son says, Pashut. He says, what? You think my father has ruach hakodesh? He says, you think my dad is ruach hakodesh? I never told him I'm sick. He says, how can my father save me? Duh, how can my father save me? I never told him. What, he has ruach hakodesh? That's why I'm dying. Right? Sounds stupid. Sounds funny. That's why Shimshon's amazing. Because we're about to feel really stupid. Excuse me. And I mean that in like a way that this is how he uses it. He uses mashalim in the most powerful way. Like the way that you're going to see in a second. He uses mashalim, which sounds so dumb. So like whatever, you're like, who is this guy? And then he just connects it and it's like, wow, that's been us our whole life. And it's like, wow. Right? Because Kain mamish adavar hazeh. This is mamish adavar hazeh that we're discussing. Kevan dichle, it says in Tehillim, in Kuf Lamed, Hashem shema b'koli, tiyena aznecha kashuvas l'kol tachtonai. It says, mamish in Torah shebechtav, in Tehillim. It says, Hashem, hear my voice. Tiyena aznecha, your ears, turn to me, right? L'kol tachtonai. And your ears should hear my begging and my pleas. What does this mean? Harei zu gzeras hakosef. It's a gzeras hakosef from the Torah. Shekodesh Baruch Hu shomea kiviyachol be'aznaim. That how does Hashem hear? How does Hashem know about our suffering? Through be'aznaim. Hashem, please turn your ears to me. Hashem hears about our suffering through his oznaim. V'lo mishtamish b'ruach hakodesh. And as kiviyachol, as if Hashem, the way Hashem runs the world, Hashem says it explicitly in Tehillim, doesn't run the world with Ruach HaKodesh. As if, not literally, but kiviyachol. V'im lo misaprim lo. If we don't tell Hashem what's wrong, kiviyachol she'eino yodea. Hashem makes it as if he doesn't know. Beino zos shenorahu ad kama b'darchei hashkacha dvarim kepshutam. It says the ways of hashkacha are awesomely simple and awesomely pashut. It says they're really pashut. Like we get so wrapped up in this question, a million different things. It says darchei Hashem are actually very straightforward, and we know the basics. Ubasko yotzeit min shamayim min hahama. And every morning, a baskol comes out from Shemayim in like a groaning way, so to speak, out of pain, and says, "Lama eincha mesaper li es masha koyev lecha." He says, like, my son, why don't you tell me what's bothering you? Like the father is like sad. Like why do my sons not just come to me and talk to me? Why don't they tell me what's wrong? Just tell me. I haven't heard from you today. I haven't heard from you in a week. Tell me what's wrong. If you just come and talk to me, I'll come right to you. That's what a baskol every single day comes out. There's a baskol every day. It says Chazal. A baskol comes out every single day and basically begs us to daven and says, "Why don't you just come talk to me? I'm going to help you. Like just come talk to me, right?" And so ultimately, let's continue with the Dalet because Dalet is continuation. We got a few minutes, but we're seeing over here an incredible concept and really makes you understand the point of davening. That you think, oh, what's the point? This and that. Right? The way that Hashem runs the world, He makes it as if He doesn't know. So the point is that people like to ask all the time, why do we daven shachris ben chamar? It's the same exact thing. Okay, a couple hours apart. What's pshat? Right? Because how much has happened between those periods, between those 3 hours, 4 hours, whatever it is that you daven, right? It says constantly. There's constant needs, and because we're like, okay, Hashem knows exactly what happened today, right? Okay, I woke up this morning and whatever. I asked this morning during shachris. I needed help on my test. I needed help on this. Okay, great, right? So I'm set for the day. But the point is, the Hashem says, I don't know unless you talk to me. The amount of things that come up throughout the day, the amount of times that they come up all the time, Hashem says, I'm making it like this, and that's why I'm helping you. Hashem says, I know it's going to be a struggle for you, so I'm giving you set times during the day to do this, right? Ultimately, the idea is that this is a tremendous chizuk for us to understand, and this is open. By internalizing this concept, this opens up to you being able to have open conversations with Hashem. Like if you really internalize it, really think about this is darchei hashkacha, straight from Chazal, straight from it's gzeras hakosov. That is Hashem is shomel with this is oznayim. It's gzeras hakosov. So if we really just think about that, you could just start talking, and you realize that Hashem just talk about all your problems, talk about everything. Hashem says that's what Hashem wants to hear. So let's see, Dalit is like a little bit of a continuation. Vinei Rambam, b'sefer mitzvahs, shecholek al Rambam, disvirole, the mitzvahs as daraisa lispal b'chol yom. So what do we know? This is a very famous discussion about is tefillah a mitzvah daraisa or is it not? So the Rambam is cholek in his sefer mitzvahs. He's cholek on the Rambam because the Rambam says that it's a mitzvah aseh daraisa to lispal b'chol yom. V'sfira leila haRamban. The Ramban says, "Spalo kol yom eino mitzvah deraisa." The Ramban says, no, it's not a mitzvah deraisa to daven every day. Umasik ve'omer v'zal. And what is he? But we infer. And what does he say? Umash darshu b'sifri v'la'avdo ze Talmud. What did I say over here? De davar acher zu tefillah asmachtahi. Right? It's an asmachta.
Oh no.
Right? Olomar, or maybe you want to say, Shemikala avoda, Shenilmo Toraso, Vishnispalo Elav Be'es Atzaros, V'tiyena Einenu, V'livno, Elav Ke'ene Avadim Al Yad Aduneim, V'chulu. What is he saying? He's based Ayin Sham. He's saying over there that when is it a mitzvah, according to him, when is it a mitzvah? It's not a mitzvah to daven every day, rather it's a mitzvah to daven Be'es Sarah. It's a mitzvah this is the Rambam's famous concept that in the disagreement, the Rambam says it's a chiv deraisa to daven every single day. Once a day, you have to call out to Hashem. The Rambam says it's not a chiv deraisa to daven every day, but rather only in the time of a sarah, you have a chiv deraisa. And we're going to see how he takes this very far. Ve'viu achinuch b'mitzvah taf lamed gimel. So the Sefer Chinuch says, V'zal, ve'ulam, ein lanu b'torah zos, ha-mitzvah zman kavul la'asosa. In this mitzvah of tefillah, we don't have a set time for it. B'pnei kain. Misabkin Rabbeinu be'inyan, right? The Rabbanon inferred from this. HaRambam Zal kalsa bechibur hagadol shem mitzvahu lispala b'chol yom, right? VeRambam Zal tavas alav ve'amar she'atorah lo tzivisanu lispala b'chol yom b'chol, as we just said. Vehu kimisafik yomar shem mitzvahu. Excuse me, that made me safik. Yomar shem mitzvah. Yeah. Sorry, it's enough. Good. Yeah, all right. So Yomar Shamitzvah Huli Spal V'Lizok Lifnei El Baruch Hu Beis Hatzara. Rather, it's enough, and right, you fill the mitzvah by calling out to Hashem at a time V'nei Sarah Mitzvah Daraisa. Ubesofa Mitzvah Kosa. The Chinuch says at the end V'noheges Mitzvah Zu Bechol Makom Ubechol Zman Bezecharim Min Akevas. That this mitzvah of tefillah is applicable at all times and all places, and all people are chayav. All people are wow. They want to hear the shir so bad. Look at that. Please, guys, silent. So we're not going to scream right now, but we'll talk. The over. I don't know what that was. Okay. So Zman is a Charim Kavas. The over al zeh. The Amad Yom V'Layla below Tefillah Klal Bitel Aseh Zeh Kedas Rambam Zal. And so according to the Rambam, if a person doesn't daven at all for a full day, you go a full day without calling out to Hashem one time, even just a short tefillah. Because again, from the Torah, everybody agrees from the Torah, there's no Zman of tefillah. And there's no set words of tefillah. According to the Rambam, the mitzvah daraisa is to say, Hashem, please, I love you, please help me, once a day. That's mitzvah daraisa, according to the Rambam. And if you go the entire day without doing that, you're bital mitzvah aseh according to the Rambam. But the Ramban says something way more profound. Not way more profound, but equally profound, but in his own way. Umi shet sarlo, but someone who's in a state of distress, below kara el Hashem yisbarach, and he doesn't call out to Hashem, la oshio bitel aseh zeh kedas haRamban zal. That if a person is in a state of distress and he doesn't call out to Hashem, he's now being bitel a mitzvahs aseh daraisa. The on show gadol is a big punishment. It's in mitzvah daraisa. Shehu kimasir hashkachas Hashem yisbarach me'alav ad kan lashona. Because it's as if the Sefer Chinuch says this person is punished because it seems as if he's openly and consciously removing the hashkach of Hashem off of him because he did a sarah, and what's he doing? He doesn't call out to Hashem. So Hashem doesn't see. Harei shematik ashitas haRamban la'alacha. And the Chinuch brings the Shitas HaRamban lehalacha. That lehalacha, what we're seeing something is wild. that there is potentially, and accepted halacha, a chiyuv d'oraisa to daven in an Eisara. And if you don't daven to Hashem and call out to Hashem in that Eisara, even in the sense, you don't have to take out, you don't have to sit there and, daven Shemona Esrei anytime. But if you're in Eisara, you don't call out to Hashem, you're being bitam mizaseh. V'yesh l'halyir kan halacha nora l'maisa. And there are those that take from here a tremendous halacha l'maisa. Techol emas, the ira la'adam, eze inyan shal tzara. Anytime any inyan of tzara, any inyan of distress comes upon a person at all, hare nischayev hu miyad b'mitzvahs asi min haTorah shal tefillah. That he immediately becomes obligated in a chiyuv d'oraisa tefillah from the Torah. But we talk about, so there's no chiyuv d'oraisa in the Torah, all right? So it's only the Rabbanan, this and that. Okay, fine. And we know we have 3 times during the day. Shach v'chamarv. There's more zmanim of tefillah, and these zmanim of tefillah might even be d'oraisa. If we're in an Eisara, we have a chiyuv zman tefillah min Torah. Wild. Vehi nafkamina gedol lamaisa. There's a mamish nafkamina gedol lamaisa. Kigon mi shekvar hispal boker. What's a nafkamina? The nafkamina is somebody who davened already in the morning. Someone davened in the morning. Ve'achar kach b'darko la'asakam. He's on his way to work. Nizdamnalo ezot tzara, and he runs to some sort of tzara. Could go koev gadol. Maybe he got injured. Something where he's on his way to work and he got injured. O iko ben yano b'chashuv lameod. Or maybe his business is going bad. All of a sudden he's in the middle of a deal. Bam! The whole deal is going south. Hare l'shitas haRamban sheviu achinuch lahalacha. The Sefer Chinuch brings the shitas haRamban lahalacha. Nizchad shalo berega zeh mitzvah v'chiyuv mehaTorah al shel tefillah mechamas shilo achshav eisara. Because and it's brought lahalacha that this is now become for him a zman chiyuv deoraisa of tefillah min Torah, to call out to Hashem and say, Hashem, please help me. Hashem, please help my deal. Please fix my tire. Please help me. Please, ow, and my arm. What's going on? On the way to work, my arm. I'm having pain. Hashem, please help me. Anytime we have a tzara, Amnam l'shitas haRambam kvar yotzei dechova. Then the nafkamin on the other hand is, according to the Rambam, you're already yotzei. Chovas avmashi spalo kvar osayom. You're already daven that day, so you already fulfilled your chiyuv d'oraisa, right? Aval haRamban nischayev mid'oraisa. These spalo al koponim tefillah k'tzara. According to the Ramban, that even though you're already davening that day, doesn't matter. You might have fulfilled your chiyuv d'oraisa in the more because you daven once, but every single time something happens, you have a chiyuv d'oraisa to even offer a quick, short tefillah. Hashem, please help me. That's it. Hashem, please help me. You're fulfilling chiyuv d'oraisa if you're in Eisara. V'tzarich iyun bedin zeladas ma'u shiur shetei nikra sara lis chayv l'min Torah das Rambam. And now, obviously, we'd have to go and have a whole Ian share. And what is the level of tzara that the Ramban is discussing here? But
I think
the point is,
it's for everyone and everyone's own tsar.
Good. We're going to see that in a second. But lehalacha, and we're going to see now. The crazy thing is lehalacha is that we have this concept now. We're learning a massive hashkafic point from this. Something crazy that again the power and the koach that we might be being bitam Mrs. Asay. Right. So listen to this. Umesaprim ala Rav mebrisk. Moran Rav Yitzchak Zeb Salvation. Right. The brisker Rav Zatzal. Shayu niflatim mipiv tfilos gam beemsa diburu imanashim. That even in the middle of him just having regular conversation with people, tfilos would just like spill out of his mouth. He would just like constantly be davening, nonstop, always davening. Right? Interesting, right? And it's interesting. This is not like the Hasidic Rebbe in the corner. I'm talking about the brisker Rav over here. Always davening. Dehaya margala bepume. Lishu ascha kivisi Hashem. What would he always say? He always would constantly just say the words. Everywhere he was walking around, even in the middle of a sentence, he would just say, Lishu ascha kivisi Hashem. Hashem, you are my salvation. Hashem, Lishu ascha kivisi Hashem. Lishu ascha kivisi Hashem. Constantly. They would give him the farish. And many people would explain what's the reason for him doing this. That he was so connected to Hashem. Betfilah, right? That he was constantly, this is what people thought. People thought, because he's so constantly connected with tefillah. And while Rav says this is definitely true, he was extremely connected to Hashem and this level of devekus and always davening because of this relationship with Hashem. Amnam nirash yesh kan I cut off my sefer yesh kan od yesod bazeh. There's another yesod bazeh which I see. Shehu meirov dikduka b'mitzvahs. Because he was so medatik in mitzvahs, right? He was so careful about fulfilling every single mitzvah. Choshash b'chol eis l'shitas haRamban shechayavim b'tefila be'eisara, like you guys just said, that he was choshesh to the Ramban that you be chayav midaraisa in any sort of eisara, no matter what. Shahari be'emes kosher ma'od limdor al shiur bazeh midaraisa manik rasara. And I said we would do a whole Ian share. He says, yeah, okay, it's very difficult. I don't know how we're going to figure that out. We don't know. How are we going to figure that out? So he says, what? The Brisker Rav, who is medactic in mitzvahs, what did he do? V'lachein marana Rav Zal. Kasher socheach im ploni. When he was having a regular conversation with somebody. When someone would come to him for advice and he would need to advise. He would need to advise somebody. Somebody comes to him and they need advice. What do I do? Where do I put my finances? I'm struggling with this. I'm struggling with that. What would he do? He felt such a responsibility to make sure they didn't deviate from the truth and tell him the wrong answer. To him, that was like an Esara, that he was so stressed out about making sure that he's guiding the person the right way. So what do we see? That he felt that every single moment, literally of his life, was a zman of chiv tefillah daraisa, according to the Rabban. Even though, I can't say it, he says, I can't say for sure. Shimon is saying, I can't say for sure. But, even if they're not, even if this wasn't the case with them, the lesson itself is the truth. The lesson itself is the emes. Then we could turn it into a mashal. Because this is a way to explain the nafkamina. So what do we see today? What we see today is, again, the way that HaKadosh Baruch Hu's hashkacha is in this world, is that he makes it as if he doesn't see. Because of the fact that he wants us to talk to him, he wants us to daven to him. If he made it as if he did see, we wouldn't have becheras nefesh. We wouldn't have any free will. It would feel like it's all just one big conglomerate. We know what's going. We wouldn't be able to feel this kirvat Hashem, like just calling out to Hashem. And the point is, Hashem hides himself like that, so that therefore we go and speak to him, right? That we have this free will, and ultimately, we learn this wild hashkafic point from the halacha that we're actually choshesh to the Ramban. That potentially every single moment of our life is an Esara. And we might potentially have a Chiv Daraisa every single moment of our life to be davening. So this is the way to get close to Hashem. When you start walking around and just talking to Hashem, on a regular basis, as difficult as it is, just say, like the Brisker Rav says, the Shuas Chakdisi Hashem, or just you can speak in English. Say randomly, Hashem, please help me get to the bus safely. Just accustom yourself to it super easily. Like in English. Doesn't matter. You're literally just by yourself, you're walking, you're not thinking about anything anyways, you're just kind of like spazzing out. Hashem, please help me succeed in my learning. As a whole, why not? It's an Esara. You clearly feel a need for it. You feel a need for it. Hashem, please help me be healthy. Whatever you want. He says, potentially, now not only are you doing this thing that's giving you ultimate dveikus to Hashem, and you're fulfilling this, but you might even be fulfilling your chiv deraisa of tefillah, according to the Rabban, every moment. Ultimately, we'll find out, Bez Hashem. But, shkoyach, and we'll continue next time, Bez Hashem.